Hi, my name is Ramon Gil-Garcia, and I am the Research Director of the Center for Technology in Government, and also an Associate Professor of Public Administration and Policy at the University at Albany, State University of New York. Today I'm presenting this paper entitled Understanding Willingness to Share Information Among Citizens and Public Organizations, the Case of Emergency Preparedness and Response, and this on behalf of my co-authors Jenisel Gulati and Mila Gasco. I'm going to talk about the different sections of the paper. First, the introduction, then the literature review about government-citizen interactions and information sharing, and then I will describe the research design and methods, the analysis and results, the discussion and implications, and finally, some concluding remarks. So the relationship between governments and citizens have been explored in the past, particularly through service provision and participation and engagement. However, we argue that the complexities of these interactions require further study, especially as more collaborative expressions emerge, such as information sharing. Willingness to share information between governments and citizens, particularly the diversity of perspectives, specific information flows, and the rationale and level of importance among different actors is not well understood. Therefore, the research goal of this study is to understand the multiple perspectives in terms of willingness to share information between government actors and citizens. We have two research questions. The first one is, why are some actors willing to share information with others? And the second one, how do the group perspective, citizens versus government, shape the rationale and importance of certain information sharing flows? And here is just an acknowledgement. This project is supported by the National Science Foundation under this grant. Okay, so from citizen participation to government and citizen interaction. There has been studies that talk about enablers and barriers, also information and communication technologies and the rise of social movements. And this is related to the fact that some of these studies are about political participation. And then we can see the evolution of citizen participation into more collaborative exchanges, and this leads to more complexity in information flows. So we see that citizen government information sharing actually involves multiple information flows. So we have multidirectional flow of information occurring among different actors. There is a reticence on the part of government authorities to receive information from citizens. And some emergency management frameworks account for all these information flows. So some of these information flows, or the ones that we are going to talk about today, citizen to government, government to citizen, citizen to citizen, and government to government. And as I mentioned before, some of the frameworks already existing in emergency management talk about all four of these information sharing flows. And as you know, during digital government, we have also been studying some of these information sharing flows for some time, like government to government and government to citizen. So now in terms of research design and methods, this is a case of the town in the north of New York. The name is Thurman and it's part of Warren County. This is a rural community. It has limited commercial, mobile, and broadband access, and the data collection was through 4 focus groups, 2 of them with local residents and 2 of them with first responders. And then we transcribe all the focus group sessions and then manually code all the data. So in terms of results, the analysis from our focus groups confirmed the 4 information sharing interactions: government to citizen, citizen to government, government to government, and citizen to citizen. We explain each information sharing interaction in detail, giving the perspectives of both first responders and local residents. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the next few slides. And in the focus groups, first responders and local residents do not discuss the same information sharing interactions at the same rate and with the same level of detail and importance. And we think that this is related to their different perspectives and how they think about these different information sharing flows. So the first one, government to citizen information sharing. First responders, they think about this in 3 different ways: informational, information related to factual safety in emergency situation, related to weather and road blockages, for example, and they were surprised by having to send out what they may consider as common sense information to citizens. Then the second type is educational. This is information related to how to behave and what to do when a first responder has been called and is on the scene. And the idea is to ensure the safety of first responders and improving efficiency, their ability to do their job better and faster, thus trying to modify public behavior and increasing predictability in emergency situations. And then the third one is value to the community. This is information related to the good work of first responders and what they are doing for the community and how this creates value. So, for example, public relations efforts for recruitment and fundraising that could be, examples of this. Then local residents' perspectives about government to citizen information sharing, also they talk in terms of information. Is very similar, is also factual safety and emergency information related to weather, road blockages, criminal risks, national situations. So local residents would like to receive more information that first responders are willing to share in general. Point out they would not necessarily know what is happening or keep track of certain information, and that's why they want to have as much information as possible. Then in the category of educational, there are important differences between first responders and local residents. In the case of local residents, they think information related to learning about how to do in specific emergency situations, like tornadoes, earthquakes, first aid, etc. Local residents are trying to empower themselves with information and knowledge, and that is quite different from what first responders said. Now, if we think about citizen to government information sharing, first responders said that, well, at least some of them would like local residents to share information dealing with them about their safety and urgent requests for assistance in order to save time and save lives. And this is going to be important because only some of the first responders think that this is important. In the case of local residents, they want to contact directly first responders and request urgent assistance and to report possible life-threatening and dangerous or suspicious events. And they would like the capability to contact multiple authorities at once in such a way that they can share the same information with several of these authorities. Then we have government to government information sharing. And here, in terms of first responders' perspectives, there is some degree of attention centering on issues with technological support and one specific application that they use to coordinate that is called I Am Responding. And this application is used, for example, for firefighters to coordinate among themselves, but also to coordinate with other government entities, such as the Office for Emergency Management of the county. And in the case of local residents, they did not discuss this in any of the focus groups. And then similar, in the case of citizen-to-citizen information sharing, first responders didn't discuss this type of information sharing flow in any of the focus groups. And in the case of local residents, they center around a strong sentiment of community, maintaining community well-being and creating a safety net. Some examples, in addition to sharing information about emergencies, were asking for help to their community with getting supplies, saving their animals, or putting out a fire. So in our study, multiple information sharing interactions were identified, which is consistent with existing literature. And we think that our main contribution is the exploration of information sharing flows at the actor level, showing the importance and rationale of information sharing across different actors. So why some actors are willing to share information with others? Some of the implications of our study are the following. Government to citizen information sharing is the most discussed information sharing flow among the participants, and this is consistent again with the literature. But there are some disagreements among local residents and first responders about the type of information that should be shared. They have different opinions about the quantity and the specific type of information that they should share. The importance of citizen-to-citizen information sharing among local residents is another important implication. Providing help not only after an emergency or disaster, but also helping each other to prepare before an emergency, which is not well documented in the literature, and we think that is also very important. Some first responders, in this case emergency medical services, would like citizens to government information sharing. This is not consistent with previous literature documenting the opposition and resistance by government authorities to citizens sharing information with them. And so we have both situations. Some of these first responders wanted to get information from citizens, and some of them prefer not to get information directly from citizens, but that citizens use the standard process and protocols in place for emergency situations, in this case dialing 911. So this shows some disagreement among the first responders on the level of openness in terms of receiving information directly from citizens. So in conclusion, there are similarities and differences between the two groups, in this case first responders and local residents. At a higher level, they both exhibit the safety of the community as a core objective, but at the lower levels of implementing this objective, we see diverging perspectives about each of the information sharing flows. And if we try to put these diverging perspectives into these two different positions, first responders want to gain more effectiveness, efficiency, and maintaining control and order in their response to emergencies. This is a more top-down perspective, reinforcing their authority and, of course, helping their job. And local residents would like to be more self-reliant, proactive, and dependable in emergencies, not only providing information to first responders, but also providing information to each other and helping each other in these emergency situations. So our study shows that information sharing between citizens and public organizations goes beyond technical, organizational, and demographic enablers and barriers, but also depends on group and individual perspectives as well as the specific type of emergency situation. So future research is needed to further understand the complexities and intricacies of these information sharing flows. Basically, there are several things that we would like to do in the future: expand to other communities with diverse geographic and socioeconomic contexts, include more emergency management leadership and policymakers, because they may have a very different perspectives from first responders, and explore other subjects that may be playing a role in our research, such as privacy. Thank you very much, and I look forward to receiving your comments and having interactions during the conference.